Another day closer to a Browns playoff game, man. That's a good reason to get up in the morning. That much closer. That much closer. But that being said, I'm starting to get this feel, Ryan. This confidence, which I like. Is it maybe too much for the Browns come Saturday? I don't feel like anybody's picking us to lose. Everybody thinks that we're going to go down to Houston and just be able to take care of the Houston Texans. I'd like to join that. I would love to dive into that and feel the same way, but some of the best games the Browns had this year were games when they were counted out. Nobody believed that they were going to win the game. Sunday, everybody's pointing to the Browns. Everybody's looking at the Browns. What are you going to do, C.J. Stroud? What are you going to do, Nico Collins? There's a level. There's a balance that I think you have to have with that. And I just want to bring that up as we start the show this morning. Jam-packed. We got the Cavs coming up at 2 o'clock in Paris. Our boost is ready to go on Tipico. Yeah, we had some big announcements yesterday and this morning when it comes to arguably the two greatest coaches to do their jobs ever. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. Moving on, I think Belichick's going to get a job. Saban retires. I told you about Pete Carroll, did I not? I told you. Pete Carroll out in Seattle. No better day to have Gregg Williams on. Former Browns interim head coach, former NFL head coach, longtime defensive coordinator, host to come get some here on Big Play. He joins us at 9:30. We got to talk Belichick. We got to talk NFL coaching circle with him. We got a lot coming up on today's show. Thursday edition. We got you locked and loaded right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have along here. Again, I can't wait to talk to Coach Gregg. Coming up at 9:30, he's going to join us. I know he's got to have some Belichick story. Coaching against him. I don't think they ever worked together, but still, he's got to have some story about Belichick. So we'll get to that coming up at 9:30 with Coach Gregg. We'll remind everybody about our Tipico boost. It's already up for the Cavs at 2 o'clock today. 2 o'clock, the Cavs are over in Paris taking on the Nets. So our boost up and ready to go over there at Tipico. We'll get to that coming up. And a lot to jump in with the Browns. We'll get to timeout. We'll get to our bracket, which was very close on your favorite 90s cartoon. A couple ties that we had this morning. I retweeted it at Matt Fontana83. Of course, follow the show at Matt Fontana Show. I can't wait for Saturday. You know, all this week, I've been smiling. I've been so happy. I've been so excited about this Browns game on Saturday. But it kind of hit me a little bit this morning and even yesterday, Ryan. The confidence that I feel like we're exuding as a fan base. I don't want to say the team because they can't have that. You know, they're going into this knowing it's a playoff game. But I feel like we're getting a little cocky. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. You need to view yourself as one of the best teams in football. You made the playoffs. Therefore, you are. You made it as the 5 seed. I saw some of the playoff rankings, which, depending on where you look, the playoff power rankings of all 14 teams, we're not 2. We're not 5. I mean, as it shakes out, it's funny that we've actually dropped from the regular season power rankings because some places had us like 6 or 7. Ryan, I see a lot of the NFL playoff wildcard weekend rankings. We're like 10th, right? That's fine. And I'm not so much talking about the team. And I guess the ultimate question is, as a fan, do you believe and buy into being too confident? We're fans. We have no impact on the game other than when we're at home, and we're not. So, like, how we feel as a fan base or how any of us feel getting ready for this game, I'm feeling a little bit of cockiness. I'm feeling a little bit, I don't want to say too much confidence because we've waited so long for these kind of opportunities, for these kind of games to show up. This is how I want to feel, but I get nervous. I get so nervous about this game. There's a world that we lose. Sure, absolutely. Are you favored? Yes. Do I see a lot of matchups that go the way of the Cleveland Browns? Sure. But I don't want, like, I'd almost rather we be the dog. I'd rather us be the team counted out. That's easier, I think. It's easier to hunt than be the hunted. And at least in this game, you are the ones that the Texans are coming after. And make no mistake, the Houston Texans and their fan base, they're saying the same thing on the opposite. This team's coming to our town and they're favored and they think they're going to walk on all over us. All right, let's play this on out. Makes me a little nervous. Makes me just a little bit nervous for this game coming up on Saturday. But then I come back to the importance of this, where I didn't want to post this question because it's a negative question. But if the Browns were to lose on Saturday, would you still feel good about this season? Would you still feel confident and positive about how this season went? It's to the question of, are the Browns playing with house money on Saturday? The interesting part is I don't get that feel. I don't really feel that way. They better win Saturday. They had better win on Saturday. And I'm just so conflicted on a lot of things where I'm sitting here saying I need them to win. I expect them to win. But then I'm nervous about winning or expecting them and feeling like they're going to win. I'm starting to get neurotic. That's the problem, is it's been all week that I've been building this, getting ready for Saturday. The excitement is going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch this football game. But I don't know if I can join in the, if they lose, you still had a successful season. You got to recalibrate. You got to change how you view a team or your expectations. I'm a realist. I understand this team is probably not going to go to the Super Bowl. I'd love them to, and what a joyous ride it would be. But in October, in November, seeing what this team was, I didn't even know if we'd be here. There was a time where I was sitting there trying to count out wins at the end of the season. Go, well, if we just win 4 out of these 5, or if we win 3 out of these 5 games, we'll make it. And lo and behold, you walked there and way out. We had a meaningless game at the end of the regular season. It's great. That's awesome. And now I'm neurotic. And now I'm nervous. And now I'm sitting here with all these emotions getting ready for this game. And it's a double-edged sword. I expect them to win. I want them to win. I'm nervous. I'm a fan. That's it. This is the playoffs. This is what it's all about. I've not had these juices flow in this way in a long time. Well, at least since 2020. But even 2020, Ryan, what was it? Oh, you're going to Pittsburgh. That's a tough place to play. You got to battle COVID. You didn't have your coach. You were missing players in that game. Went out and smoked them. This is about as even of a playing field as you can ask for. You're facing about as even as an opponent. We discussed this a little bit on yesterday's show. Of all the matchups, this might be the most even. And you would say, what about Miami, Kansas City? I'm buying that weather. Miami is trash in bad weather. So I think that creates a little bit of a gap between them and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City go out and practice in it this week. I don't care what air conditioning unit they have set up in that indoor facility down there in Miami. They're not getting it down to 32 degrees. I don't know why I just pictured a facility. They're just bringing all these giant air conditioning units in and trying to turn the temperature. They have no choice but to practice in the weather that they're in. I think that's a big change for that game. And all the rest of them, there's no issues, I think, with the Bills facing the Steelers. That game should be an easy wash there. And then what's the other game I'm missing here? Kansas City, Miami, Buffalo, Steelers, and us. Those are the 3 games. That's it on the AFC side.
Yeah.
The NFC side, okay, the Rams and the Lions, I think, is a close game over there. I'm sorry, I'm buying the Eagles to take care of the Buccaneers. And I don't think Green Bay is going to have very much for... What game?
Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas. So we got one of the closest games going. It's making me neurotic. It's making me just a little neurotic when it comes to where the Browns are at gearing up for Saturday. But I'm still I just want to get there. It's been so long this week. I can't wait to get there and see how it plays out. Part of that chess match is going to be the Browns defense taking on C.J. Stroud. So let's hear from Jim Schwartz. So he spoke yesterday, Browns defensive coordinator. He's seen a lot of quarterbacks. He told the story of a rookie quarterback named Joe Flacco beating him with Baltimore when Jim Schwartz was the defensive coordinator there for the Tennessee Titans. So he knows what it's like to face a rookie quarterback. Here's Jim Schwartz yesterday talking about C.J. Stroud, an important matchup for Saturday.
Obviously a rookie, but has command that goes beyond usually the scope of a rookie. Decisive with the ball, accurate passer, buys some time, makes big plays down the field. I think when it's all said and done, the fact that he's passed for as many yards as he has without turning the ball over is really impressive for a young guy. Usually, the cost of doing business, if you're going to throw a lot of yards, is you also turn the ball over a lot. And, it's been impressive what he's been able to do. We're going to have to play tight coverage. We're going to have to stay after him in the pass rush.
I see this from Warren Sharp yesterday because I sent this tweet out and people really liked it. The Browns defense is number 2 in the NFL in pressure rate. CJ Stroud splits this year in a clean pocket, 20 touchdowns, 69% nice completion percentage, and a 9.2 yards per average. In a pressured pocket, 3 touchdowns compared to 20, a 52% completion percentage compared to 69, and a 6-point yard per average throw. That's down 3 yards compared to a clean pocket. Stats tell you to get the pressure on. That's what the Browns do. They play a lot of man. I sent the tweet out from Remember the Saints. You blitz all night. You blitz, you get pressure in his face, you get hands on him, and you make things really hard for a rookie quarterback in his first playoff game. So to hear Jim Schwartz say that, I appreciate to a level of what he's saying, right? You want to be confident in what you're doing, but you got to give the respect to CJ Stroud. You got to understand that CJ Stroud has the physical skills that can beat you on Saturday. And that's the other part of it. I'm talking about the confidence for this game coming up. They should be able to take care of CJ Stroud, but I see some of the throws that he makes. I see some of the plays that he made, just even going back to that Week 18 game against the Colts. Because I do think there was an element where Stroud was riding high and things were going really well for the Texans. They lose Tank Dell. You've got some injuries that impact them. And all of a sudden, he's kind of reinvented himself again later in this season. But you can't sleep on him. You cannot sleep on CJ Stroud. When we were talking about all the matchups of who you wanted to play, some people really wanted to stay away from the Houston Texans. What's the number one reason they wanted to stay away from the Houston Texans, Ryan? CJ Stroud. Because yes, he is a rookie, but damn is he talented. And these are games that some kind can launch a career or start a career off if he goes out there and does what he hopes to do. Now, the thing is, that is the most confident unit that I have for the Cleveland Browns right now, is that defense. And I'm going to ask them and Jim Schwartz to scheme it up and make things really hard for CJ Stroud. And even if you do all these perfect things, he can still beat you, right? That is kind of the neurotic feeling that I have for this game coming up. That's why my stomach is literally in knots getting ready for this game, because I see the paths. I see the ways that Houston can beat us. And it's going to be, in a way, best on best. Their best option is CJ Stroud. The Browns' best option is our defense. Your best players, some of them are Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. And you're going to ask them to try to shut down CJ Stroud. It's going to be a battle. It is going to be a battle on Saturday that I can't wait for. I'm like, again, it's just this confidence level that I have with where the Browns are at. It's maybe a little quiet confidence. They had that players-only meeting this week, which I think was fantastic. And I sit down and I get ready for this game. I'm still believing. But Ryan, I feel like everybody's picking the Browns. I don't see many people that are anti-Browns in this game, even from a national level. And I got to tell you, I don't like that.
I know one Mr. Rank, who has notoriously picked against the Browns all year long.
That's an axe to grind. You got to look at
Maurice
that.
Jones-Drew, I saw, did pick the Texans, and he's been pretty. He's
all right.
I think out of that group of that's NFL Network, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I think he has the highest percentage. So.
All right.
But we'll see.
And a lot of the stats or a lot of the numbers and the projections that I see are close games. It's not blowouts. It's not 10-point games. They're close. But I kind of don't like that. You want to put that as our poll question up? Do you like it when everybody picks the Browns to win? Because I feel like that is where we're at for this game on Saturday. The vast majority of people are picking the Browns to win this game. I don't know if I like that.
Can I word it as...
You can word it however you want.
Okay.
Yeah. You run the polls here. You can do whatever you want over there on the Twitter. At Matt Fontana Show, by the way, drop us a follow there. If you can, and vote on our Twitter questions up there as well. You can word it however you want. Do you like it when the Browns are the team? Do you like it when they are the team that everybody's picking to win? Because that's what's happening for this game. Again, there are people. I was going to get to this a little bit later in the show. Bill Barnwell did his playoff bracket. He went through every single game and made his projections. He picked the Texans to win. And I'll give the reasons why a little bit later. The line is moved, too. I've got it at 2.5. It opened at 1.5. So it's to 2.5. And I haven't seen the public money. I'm assuming a lot of it is flowing in on the Cleveland Browns, but that line is moved. With Stroud out there, and especially with what he did against the Colts. I think a lot of people, maybe it's more recency bias for me, watching how he carved up the Colts to get that win, man. Whew. He's good. He's very good. And I know the Browns' defense is good. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting really nervous about this game. Because the other part, and I mentioned this for a second, but man, I didn't want to think about if they lose. Right? That's why I didn't want to post that question about if they lose, would you still consider this season a success? And I know, regardless, again, if they lose next week, we're going to be upset. And you're going to sit back and you're going to say, we missed out on this, we missed out on that. In the grand scheme of it, and eventually as the offseason goes on, we'll probably be able to compartmentalize that a little bit more. And you'll be able to say, all right, look what happened and everything that went on with this team. It's been crazy. It's been an absolutely crazy season. But that's where I want the craziness to keep riding of everything that they've had to go through, the momentum that the Browns have been able to build. I can't accept a loss. I can't accept it.
I mean, you look at the stakes of this game, right? If we do win, then we're one more win away from our first AFC championship since '89, which I know that something in Time Hop's going to be there today regarding that. Or if we
You're
lose,
quite the historian over there, Ryan. You are correct. There's something in Time Hop that we don't really want to talk about.
Or God forbid we drop this game, then it's immediately Deshaun Watson shoulder watch. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like the stakes are so high.
It is. Obviously, you don't end your season on a win unless you win the Super Bowl, and how you play off into the offseason and the moves and everything that's going to change. You're in the playoffs. It's a must-win game, clearly, very obviously. But it's not this situation where we're just happy to be here. Like the Steelers, right? There are some teams that I think could feel that way, and the excuses are built in. That is the toughest thing, is that the excuses are built in for this Browns team. And I've given them credit all year for not using them. That you lost Watson, you lost Chubb. It's because Joe Flacco has come in and erased that. It's no longer Joe Flacco, the fill-in quarterback. He is the Browns starting quarterback. And he is the guy that you have seen enough tape on and enough games on now that you believe he should go out there and win this game. You've seen this defense, even battling through injuries, that they are good enough to go out and win this football game. And I'm going to need them to. I'm going to need them to. One thing yesterday on Grant Delpit, they activated him. Ryan, I'm starting to get some scuttlebutt. I don't think he's actually going to play this weekend. It sounds like they're maybe more gearing him up if they win, when we win. And the same thing for Dustin Hopkins. So we were excited to get Delpit back. I really look at more guys like Juan Thornhill, right? He did not practice yesterday. Brown's injury report is out. That's more of a guy that I'm looking at. So it sounds like Delpit might not be able to go this weekend. We'll see. Want to remind everybody, we're about 10 minutes away. Gregg Williams going to join us. Of course, host Come Get Some here on the Big Play Network. What a perfect day to have him on. I want to talk coaching, what it's like to be in those interviews, and how he would defend C.J. Stroud. That's all coming up in 10 minutes. But, of course, one of the craziest 24-hour cycles in coaching history, where you have arguably the two greatest at their jobs done. Bill Belichick's going to be leaving the Patriots. They have a noon press conference today. Of course, Nick Saban retiring, and Pete Carroll forced out the door. He's going to take a front office job with them, but he made those comments. He felt like he could still do this job, whatever. I kind of felt like Carroll was going to go, just of the age. They're at this kind of pivotal point for their franchise. They're going to make the move, and no one was really shocked by Belichick. How shocked were you with the Saban announcement yesterday?
I was pretty shocked, but then kind of as I was reading tweets, because I mean,
it kind of connects the dots.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
I saw a lot of people connecting the fact that it's NIL landscape now. Saban kind of doesn't want to play those games. He's the master of recruiting. It's kind of a new era. I mean, he has a resume unlike any other. I know he didn't get it done this year, but out in the sunset.
But off on that, people thought this was one of his lesser talented teams, right? Yeah. So if you're Nick Saban, you say, I did the best coaching job that I could with a lesser team. We still didn't get it done. It is time to go. And you assume that next year's not quite, it's not like you flip a switch and Amari Cooper and all these guys come back through the door and you're back into this.
This would be a good question. Who would you rather have to replace? Because we always talk about on the show, you'd rather be the guy that replaces the guy that replaced the legend. Would you rather replace? What do you think's I'll put it this way. What do you think's an easier job to do?
I like that.
Replace Saban or replace Belichick?
I like that. Put that up. Put that up. I like that. Which would be the easier job to replace? Nick Saban in Alabama, Bill Belichick in New England. I think a lot of people will vote how I'm going to vote, and it's Bill Belichick because of how it ended. They went 4-13. It was time to go. He didn't make all these right draft picks. Mac Jones was a bust. They had a lot of issues up there in New England. Alabama is still a machine. Nick Saban has created this thing where they just every single year are in the conversation. New England is a bottom feeder right now. That's how sports usually go. It's a lot of times cyclical, where even the best teams at some point, they hit a low. Patriots have hit their low. The big thing on Belichick, which is a conversation maybe we'll have with Greg coming up, everybody's revisiting this. Is it him or Tom Brady? Is he truly the GOAT? Is he the greatest coach of all time? And I know it's hard when you try to compare him to Paul Brown. Right. What Paul Brown was doing for the Browns and the championships that they had won. And I think even if you asked Bill Belichick, he views himself as a Paul Brown descendant, right? He views himself off that coaching tree because he really respected what Paul Brown did. Those eras are so different, right? Where I could say Paul Brown was the greatest coach for that era. Bill Belichick has to be the greatest coach of this era, right? You see what Danny Amendola said the other day?
No.
So Danny Amendola played for the Patriots for a little while. And he said, we played for Tom, but we worked for Bill. And what that kind of sounds like to me is more of that was Tom Brady. And it's easy to say that because Brady went off and won another championship without Belichick. Belichick did nothing without Tom Brady. Give Belichick credit for drafting Brady, for putting the Patriots in the position they are, because people are so quick to dismiss what Bill Belichick did, just saying it was all Tom Brady. And I sit there and I say, you won 6 championships. 6. It's not like he just showed up and did it. It's not like if you put me in that job with Tom Brady, you go, oh yeah, you're going to go win 6 championships. The amount of discredit that I think people are trying to give Bill Belichick is insane. Yes, it all came crashing down, and they haven't had good teams since. But Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of modern NFL history. That's it. And I don't see anybody really being able to rival him for that. There's no question in my mind on that. So whether or not it was more of Tom Brady, yes, I think that question has been answered. It was more Tom Brady than Bill Belichick. But right, you don't wake up, put your disgusting cutoff hoodie on, show up at Gillette Stadium, and go win 6 championships. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to do. So you got to give your due credit to Bill Belichick. For Nick Saban, he is, yes, very clearly the greatest college coach of all time. 7, right? 7 total is what he got?
I think 6. I think him
LSU?
Sorry, 6 at Alabama. Yeah.
6 at Alabama, 1 at LSU.
Yeah.
So did it at 2 different schools. The juggernaut that he turned Alabama in. And trust me, I'd love nothing more than watching Alabama suck for a couple of years. That'd be great. He's the greatest. He is. And that's different, in my opinion, than Belichick. Belichick still wants to coach. Pete Carroll still wants to coach. Nick Saban's like, I'm good. I'm good.
That's a good question that I just thought of.
I appreciate you thinking of it. I'm going to go retweet it at Matt Fontana Show for you. I think it's an interesting question.
I don't know where I'd stand.
Well, talk it out with us here. What do you think?
I don't know. My gut says Belichick just because I don't know. It's.
Why do you think Saban? Let me ask you that then. Why do you think Saban?
I think there's more to college than just coaching in terms of recruiting, in terms of dealing with conference realignment. Not that they specifically experienced that, but just there's so many changing parts in college.
Is a lot different.
It's so fluid compared to the NFL. And you also have guys that are coming in and going out, and you keep having to reload rather than you have this quarterback, the greatest of all time, kind of consistent, leading your franchise to the promised land. I don't know. It just seems like almost a harder job to do in college because you have to keep reloading and keep fulfilling these players in your programs.
Oh, I think it's 100% harder to be a college coach. That kind of goes back to my Vrabel take that why would you go back to college when you have the pro? In the pros, you don't have to worry about pro personnel. You have a general manager. And that would be another thing, too. I think if we've learned anything from Belichick and some of these other coaches, in no world ever should you have a coach also acting as your general manager. Ever. Ever, ever. That worked for Belichick. That's over. I think that is not going to be something moving forward in the NFL. Where in college, you have to be a part of that. Now, you have recruiting coordinators and you have people that focus on players and all that kind of stuff. But just talk about that grind. I think about this so much. That when college coaches go on the road, like the one that comes to mind is James Franklin, right? He's the head coach at Penn State. And by the way, there is no way he's getting that Alabama job. I know they're talking about this list, and it's Dan Lanning, it's Mike Norvell, and
Dude, can we talk for a second?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Remind
me to bring back James Franklin in a second.
Why in God's world is James Franklin
on
that list?
I really don't know.
I
swear to God, I don't know.
Pete Thamel put that list out, and
I have no idea.
I was waiting for someone to explain it.
It's probably leaked from Penn State because they're like, get him out of here. We don't want him here either. The buyouts. Dan Lanning has a $20 million buyout at Oregon. I like Dan Lanning. He takes that Alabama job. He is just the placeholder for again, it's talk about replacing a legend. I wouldn't take that job. If I'm Dan Lanning, I'm good. Hire somebody else and fire them in 4 years, then come call me. He's doing just fine in Oregon. He's going to make his money. They're entering the Big Ten. I see no reason for that. But I brought up James Franklin because the grind of a college coach. Bro, when he came to Columbus, when they were playing Ohio State, they got in on Friday. He had to take a helicopter to go to some high school game in the Columbus area to show up for 5 minutes to not even glad-hand a recruit because the recruit was playing in the game. He just had to say he showed up on the sideline for that recruit and their family to feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Did he do that for Alar or was it someone else?
I'm sure he probably did it for Drew Aller. I'm sure he did. I don't know. But like that's what I'm saying. That's why being a college coach, and we're talking about the cream of the crop, the guys that are making millions of dollars, go find some guys tolling away at UTSA or something like that. Go find these other college coaches trying to make their way at Santa Fe State. That's not even a real school, but you know what I mean? SCLSU. South Central Louisiana State University and Bobby Boucher and the Mud Dogs, baby. How about that? How about those coaches gotten to do it? That is a grind that I would not wish on anybody. I really wouldn't. So if you got the option, you stay in the pros. And for Saban, did the college thing, tried the pros, and I know a lot of people joking like, hey, former Browns defensive coordinator retired. Hayden Grove, we got to have Hayden on the show. I got to message him. We'll get him on here coming up. Hayden had a great tweet of like going back and looking at that era. So the Browns had Belichick and Saban on the same staff from 91 to 94. It's incredible to say that you got two of the greatest ever. But then go look at like bottom level assistants, right? Scott Pioli was there. Eric Mangini was there. Phil Savage was on that squad. Kirk Ferentz was on that squad. There's so many you see the spawn. And I know the other knock kind of on Belichick has been, his coaching tree. Right? He hasn't had a lot of guys that have gone off and had success beyond him. Doesn't change the fact that he's still the best, that he was ever the best. And it's just in a 24-hour cycle to have that change. You know, I saw this too. This came out this morning. 25% of the NFL has been let go. Carroll, Belichick, Rivera, Arthur Smith, Vrabel, McDaniels, Staley, Frank Reich. All out of jobs over a course of time. But that's a quarter of the league turnover. That's a lot. It's a lot of coaches. Even more of a reason to be happy with where the Browns are at. All right, we're almost up to Gregg Williams. Tipico, folks, get signed up with our boost. We got the boost, Ryan?
We got it.
Let's go! Yes!
There you go. A little bit lower. There you go. There you go.
3-leg boost for the Cavs. They're in Paris. 2 o'clock tip today. Don't forget that. Ryan, we're going to ride it. I think Donovan Mitchell's showing up big for this game tonight. I think he's showing up tonight. I keep saying tonight. I'm sorry. We're going to go over 25.5 points for him. You're feeling your guy, Max Strus.
Oh, yeah.
3.5 threes. Is that what's at?
All he needs is 3.
All he needs is 3. And then our final one for our boost here, under 226. I'm going to go with the jet lag. I'm going to go with the Nets aren't feeling it. Dude, a big 540 on our boost. Get signed up, folks. Tipico, use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. I'm going to go with the Big 10 spot on this one. Dude, $10 went to you $64.
The new graphic is good luck.
Yes. Again, our boost is up. Struce, 3 threes. Donovan Mitchell, 26 or 25 or more points at 24.5 and under 226. I think Cavs will get the win here this afternoon as well. So there it is, our boost with Tipico. Use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. You deposit and bet $25. You use that code, you get $100 in bonus bets. Right there with our friends at Tipico. We love Tipico. They're the best. And I like this little afternoon action here for the Cavs. I like it. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dude, that boost to 540. I love it. I love it. Got 2 other boosts here. 28 or more 3-point makes in the game for both teams, plus 130. And then Karis LeVert. I like this. Karis and Paris. 30-plus rebounds, points, and assists for Karis LeVert. That is boosted up to plus 175. But our boost is plus 540 on a 3-legger. Struce, 3 threes. Donovan Mitchell, 25 or more points, and under 226.5 points for both teams there. You want to catch a break? We'll get Gregg Williams in here. All right, Gregg's going to join us next. Former NFL coach. We know Gregg. Come get some on Mondays here on Big Play. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about with him. He will join us next. Don't go anywhere. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, back here on the Fontana Show, we're going to get Gregg Williams coming up in just a little bit. We're talking a lot about the changes in the coaching, sir. I mean, who would have ever thought that in a 24-hour span, both Saban and Belichick would be calling it quits and moving on? One forced, one not so forced, and now this carousel keeps going back around. And the interesting part is for the Browns, I still keep coming back to Jim Schwartz and where his situation is. He's not getting brought up, which I think is a great thing. And I feel bad for Jim Schwartz because if he wants to get back into the coaching circle, if he wants this to be, I mean, I think everybody wants to strive to be a head coach. You want to see what it's like. Kind of with Saban when he went to the Dolphins. I want to see if I can do this. And Belichick, at the nth degree, over and over and over again, kept saying, he goes, I thought he was going to be successful in Miami, and I thought he'd turn around there. Well, he didn't. And sometimes even the best coaches are sometimes in bad situations. But it comes back to Kevin Stefanski, because can you believe this, Ryan? That Kevin Stefanski, who just completed his 4th season with the Cleveland Browns, is now tied for 8th as the longest tenured coach in the NFL. Tomlin, 17 seasons. Yeah. Harbaugh, 16. Andy Reid at 11. Now tenured with one team. So Andy Reid in Kansas City. Yeah. Sean McDermott, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay at 7 seasons. Zach Taylor and Matt Peter LaFleur at 5. Kevin Stefanski at 4. Wow.
I mean, 4 years has got to be the longest since Crennel.
Right? Well, yeah, Hugh was only 3. Everybody else was either 2 or 1 or done. Romeo was only 3. I think it's the longest.
Was he
since
3?
I think
okay.
Because
so then you got to go back.
He got it 1 year. They had the breakout year in 07. He got fired after 08.
Yeah, because
Butch was here, I think, 4.
But so since Butch,
yeah,
wow,
that's like, listen, for Kevin Stefanski, and I think as this season has gone on, the anti-Stefanski crew, which I know are always going to be there, and I think as a Browns fan, you got to understand they're always going to be there. And for Saturday in a playoff game, they lose, people are going to start calling for Stefanski. Like, that's just what's going to happen, right? And there's an element eventually that I'd love to deal with Mike Tomlin of, you make the playoffs every single year and you don't ever, you get upset, you get bored and bothered by making the playoffs and not going far. But watching the landscape of how it plays out, I can't tell you how great of a hire that was. And it took the Browns 2 cycles. We've been doing it in a time hop. They wanted Kevin Stefanski before 2019. They went with Fred Kitchens, right? Okay, fine. That didn't really work out. They bring Stefanski back. And I think as we know the power plays that go on with the Browns with Paul DePodesta, that's one of the biggest reasons why he can walk around that building saying, I told you so. Because you found the guy. He's your guy. There's no more. I truly do not believe that there's any more questions with Kevin Stefanski. Especially if he wins on Saturday. Especially if you get that win on Saturday when you say you went through technically 5 starting quarterbacks. I know 4 when it only really mattered. You completely flipped and changed your offense in a month to fit what Joe Flacco needs to do to throw for 300 yards for all those games. And again, if he goes out and does that again on Saturday, you got no questions. You enter these pools, right? Every year, this coaching cycle and these coaches changes. And again, a quarter of the league, 25% of the NFL is on the hunt for a coach right now. I will tell you this because I've seen it just in the short time I've done this, Ryan. There's not 8 good coaches out there to replace those jobs. There might be 3 or 4. And the scramble is on to find one of those 3 or 4 and make sure they take your job. But make no mistake, there's not. And there's going to be another cycle next year. And these guys get booted out and all this. And you don't got to worry about that. And in the scheme of the NFL and how you want to build your franchise up. Yeah, I want a franchise quarterback. I think we got that with Deshaun Watson. I hope so. You'd like franchise players, sure. But nothing will take you as far as having the right head coach. Nothing will take you as far as having a guy that's going to build that culture, that's going to build the consistency. And you want to steal something from Bill Belichick, and I know this, working with Gerard Cherry for as long as I have, and Gerard would tell you any day of the week, there was a standard there. There was a protocol set there. When you joined the Patriots, you fit into the Patriots way. And it's not quite as simple as this. It's not so military, but Gerard said a lot. NFL's mock military, man. You have got to have a 5-star general that's going to lead you that way. I believe in what Kevin Stefanski is doing. And I believe the players believe in what Kevin Stefanski is doing. So you don't have to even entertain this. And now it lets you focus on the important parts. You're not worried about spending time to find coaches. And you're worried about your team. You're worried about your scheme. And what I do hope is that there's enough cachet getting built up for Kevin Stefanski that the little bumps in the road, which will still come, we can ride on over those and not worry about it. Sunday, a win there continues to build that cachet. Watching how the rest of the league is going to operate with these moves. And you got your guy, a young offensive-minded guy. What is everybody in the NFL clamoring for? A young offensive-minded guy. You got him, and you already have some cachet built up in 4 seasons. What more could you want?
Matt,
What more could you want?
Do you know? So turns out Cornell actually was 4 years.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And that, but
Was it 05, 6, 7, and 8?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Can you tell me who the interim coach was after Butch got fired?
Terry Robisky.
Yeah. Nice.
Terry Robisky. I remember that. Do you know Terry Robisky's dad? Or he's the dad of who?
Brian Robisky.
Brian Robisky, yes. Former Cleveland Brown, former Ohio State Buckeye. Yes,
just
I remember
assumed
that.
So that's a
I remember that. Terry
uncommon last
Robisky.
name.
Yeah. No, Terry Robisky was the guy. Yeah. I remember that. But so did we go straight Butch to then Terry, then right into Romeo?
Yep.
Wow.
Terry went 1-4.
So, I mean, even on that, you would say that outside of Chris Palmer, because when Butch started, 01, right?
Butch started 01, yeah.
Okay. So really from 01 to 08, you only had 2 coaches.
From 01 to
But then go
yeah.
go 08 to 2020.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Go 08 to 2020. Can you want to give me the shot here? Give me the shot. Eric Mangini.
Yep.
Rob Chajinski.
So there's one between.
There was another. Oh God, who's the interim?
Well, it wasn't an interim, but this guy took over for Eric Mangini, and he was between Chudzinski.
He was?
Yeah.
On the interim basis?
No, this guy was full time.
Oh, Pat Shermer.
Yeah.
God, I forgot about that. We were just talking about Pat Shermer the other day.
And then Chud.
Okay, so you went Mangini, Shermer, Chud, Patton,
Mm-hmm.
Hugh,
Yeah. How is he here so long?
Greg, Freddie.
And then our boy.
7 guys in the span of about, 12 years? Yeah. Wow, man. And you search. You search for that coach to match with their
How many
quarterback.
Browns coaches do you think you can name all time?
Oh, probably a lot of them. Can I go in any order?
Yeah.
So all those guys are out. Then Chris Palmer, and that closes out since 99. Okay.
Yeah.
Belichick, Coach Marty Schottenheimer, Coach Sam Rutigliano, Forrest Gregg, Blanton Collier, of course, Paul Brown.
And then you're just missing a few like in between all those guys.
Yeah, and that's like,
You're missing. You could definitely, I think, get one more that you didn't name.
oh man, Coach Sam Barney. Oh man, I don't know if I can.
There's one I think you know that you're not thinking of.
Okay.
But then like the other ones I've never heard of.
Yeah, like now I'm trying to think owners. Like Mickey McBride was the owner; he wasn't the coach. But like, oh my gosh,
I love this history. It's like my new.
I
thing.
love doing trivia. I'm always for it. All right, what decade? 70s?
This was our coach 89 to 90.
89 to 90.
He was after Marty.
And before Belichick.
So there was 2 guys between Schottenheimer and Belichick.
I don't know.
One of them was an intern though. So
Interim coach,
So
yeah.
really one guy. This
Okay.
guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bud Carson.
Oh, Bud Carson. Yeah, I would. Yeah, let me put this. I know Bud Carson, but I would not have gotten
Yeah.
that. You're right. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, and that's even the most like high level organizations. When you look at them and what a lot of them have the consistency at the head coach. You got to go through the bad times. You have got to learn through the bad times. Now, some teams and some coaches get the knock of, oh, you got handed this team, right? Oh, Cowher, he handed that team over to Mike Tomlin, or this team got it. The Browns have literally built this. And I think that's another reason for positivity when it comes to Kevin Stefanski. This is his. This is Andrew Berry's. This is another thing about why I'm so happy to not be dealing with this crap anymore. This is their baby. This is their creation. Now, is there a world that this all comes crashing down in the future? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. But the thing is, they have ownership of it. They have built it the right way. And that is what you got to do. You've got to hire and employ smart people and believe that they're the right people for the job. Around the league, do you really want to enter this pool? Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick and Mike McDonald. One of those guys might be the next shot. Because what are you searching for? What are you searching for? Who's the last coach that got hired in a cycle? You go, that guy is it, right? You search for who? Your Kyle Shanahan's, your Sean McVays. They're all coming off that tree. But more recently, Ryan, who's been a head coach? And I know people are real high on DeMeco Ryans right now and Shane Steichen. Okay, fine. There's still time to be played out. Is Robert Saleh a guy that you sit there and you go, oh my God, that was such a fantastic hire for the Jets?
No, not at all. And it might not be his fault, but absolutely not. They've had no success while he's there.
I'm going to look this up.
Maybe
real quick.
they will next year with Rodgers, but
Head coaches.
so far, no. It's really Sean McVay you have to go back to, which is how many years now? 5?
Yeah. These are all vacant
Or
jobs.
even longer than that.
I'm going to go to the most recent hires. Sean Payton, that doesn't really count. Like Matt Eberflus, DeMeco Ryan, Brian Dable, Dennis Allen, Todd Bowles,
Kevin O'Connell,
Doug Peterson, Kevin O'Connell. You're right. You search for some Nick Sirianni. Dude,
who's getting exposed?
Like, seriously, think about that.
Good.
He was in the Super Bowl last year, and people are going to, oh, maybe it's time to move on. That tells you how crazy. Yeah. And you're searching for a guy. You're looking for some. Listen, there's some bad country song written about this. There's some Taylor Swift song about it. Actually, I think there is a Taylor Swift. It's standing right in front of you. It is right in front of you. Kevin Stefanski is your Taylor Swift song. He is standing right in front of you. Don't go looking anywhere else. Don't start, tempted on the grass, on the green, on the other side. And, oh, look at this candidate pool over there. There are going to be some good coaching candidates that get hired this offseason. There's going to be some ones that are just trash and fired in 2 years. Don't look past what is standing right in front of you. He is it. He is it. And Saturday, I think might be the crowning achievement for him. Until we get to an AFC championship game and a playoff game, or Super Bowl. But if you tell me that he would win a playoff game, dealing with everything that he's had to go through this season, that is his crowning achievement. And I will tell you this, not a lot of people could do that. Because you watch it and you would, we could find somebody else. You really can't. You really can't. And people do want to look at Jim Schwartz. There are people who want to look, they wouldn't have this defense without Jim Schwartz. Who hired him? Don't forget that. And number 2, Kevin Stefanski, you wouldn't be winning these games without Joe Flacco throwing for the yards that he is. And you want to give credit to Flacco? Deservingly so. Kevin Stefanski had to take his entire offense and change it in about 3 weeks. I don't know if people understand how hard of a job that is. And he did it with a 38-year-old quarterback coming off the couch. All of these things. What more could you want? And you would like to get to the levels of your Belichicks and your Sabans. On a bigger picture thing, Ryan, I don't know if that's the way the NFL is trending. Seriously. In today's day and age, with social media, with the fans, with all this stuff, I don't know. I think coaches making it to 10 years is going to be an anomaly. It's going to be so easy to pull the trigger and say that this guy, it's the Marty Schottenheimer effect. I said that over and over with the Chargers, right? He made the playoffs every year with the Chargers, every year, but they would never go to the Super Bowl. They'd always lose in the AFC Championship game. They always lose the division, and they fired him because of that. Look at him now. Look at him since, right? Making it to 10 years is going to be the anomaly in the. Think about even coaches that are like, all right, I ran through this earlier. There are people that thought Sean McDermott was going to get fired. Kyle Shanahan is one that's going to make it. There's no, again, I'm very much in on Kevin Stefanski. But Kyle Shanahan is the one guy that and I'm assuming the 49ers are this way, you never get rid of that guy. There are just some that will transcend. Kyle Shanahan's one of those guys. I don't even feel the way about Sean McVay. I like Sean McVay. I think he's a really good coach. But he's not one of those guys. Sorry, I had to move the chair. My legs keep hitting this thing. It really hurts. I just did it right in the middle of the show, by the way. Kyle Shanahan's there. Sean McVay's close. But Kevin Stefanski is entering that realm, in my opinion. Just shut it down, man. He's your guy. Until he's not. Till he's not. And you'll know that.
Which-
but you got to fight through. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be times that you're questioning it and the in-game management. That's the other thing. He is the offensive play caller, so you have more meat to grab onto when he misses a call here or doesn't go for a fourth down or you don't like this call here. There's more meat to grab on than somebody that doesn't call plays.
What's crazy about that, too, everything you just said, is Kevin Stefanski is still the least longest tenured coach in the AFC North. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You put him in any other division,
Yeah.
like, he's at least the second or third.
Well, and does it coincide with the fact that the AFC North is the best division in football?
100%.
You know, you got to give
100%.
credit to Tomlin for what he's done. It's funny that the same thing with Harbaugh, right? They're never calling for his job, but he and Tomlin are in the semi-same boat here. Now, they've had a little more success recently. They've been the number 1 seed. They've had more success come playoffs, but they still don't have a Super Bowl. But John Harbaugh is viewed as a god, as he should be. I think Mike Tomlin should be too. And yeah, that's, I think, part of the reason. Now, Zach Taylor, this year, we know.
He's so, like, I don't know how he's been there for 5 years.
Okay.
Burrows saved him.
This is kind of lightning bolt epiphany me on this. And I think I have a new thing to say to any anti-Stefanski people. You want to know what it is?
Yes.
He is a direct cause for your success. Is he not? Sometimes you look at coaches and you cannot answer that question definitively. Are they a direct cause of your success? Now, guys that are direct cause of your failure, they get fired. That's easy. How can you not look at Kevin Stefanski and say he is a direct cause to your success? Myles Garrett, direct cause to success. Amari Cooper, direct cause to success. Joe Flacco, Adam Amendola. Kevin Stefanski is a direct cause. Jim Schwartz is a direct cause too. But he is. I don't know if I could say that about, like, that's my whole point on Zach Taylor. I think he, maybe, I don't know, maybe, maybe he is, maybe he's not. But I do, seriously, you just got to look at it and you say, without a doubt, that Kevin Stefanski is a direct cause to your success.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's a fact. That is a bona fide fact. So as all the rest of these teams are chomping at the bit to get after, and I'll tell you this is covering it. I know we've gone through it as fans and all this kind of stuff. I hate the coaching search. I love the draft. I love mock drafts, and I love getting into that. I hate the offseason of searching for a coach because that is even harder to do, in my opinion. I think it's one of the hardest things to do is find the right head coach, find the right general manager. And you're grasping at straws, and you got this guy that's a retread or this guy that's been a former coach before, and you're trying to pick, well, what does Bobby Slowick bring to the count? And the thing is, you don't ever actually know until they get that job. This guy's a great play caller, and he's really good handling. How's he handle a team? How's it when he is the main guy? You found that out, and you've answered that question. Kevin Stefanski can do that job. You can. You don't know that about any of these other guys, for the most part, that are going to be taking these jobs. And there are a couple of these jobs that are attractive for one reason or other. They've got a quarterback. They've got a team. Would you say Seattle is now the most attractive job over the Chargers?
That's another great question.
Here are all the vacancies
Initially,
at this moment.
my gut says Chargers because
Falcons, Panthers, no. Chargers, Patriots, Seattle, Tennessee, and Washington. The Raiders are keeping Antonio Pierce.
I'll tell you what, though, and that's going to go under the radar because they don't have a quarterback, but that's really their only missing piece. This is why I said if
Tennessee?
Vrabel to go to Atlanta because the same thing that he could do there, the same thing he did in Tennessee. He took average quarterback play, which the Falcons might not even have that, but they'll get that eventually. He took average quarterback play in Ryan Tannehill. He had a superstar in A.J. Brown. He had a superstar in Derrick Henry. Go look at the Falcons. They have a superstar in Bijan Robinson. They have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, 2 young first-round picks. I think he could do the same thing in Tennessee that he could go do in Atlanta.
Well, everybody's saying Belichick's going to go to Atlanta now. Everybody says he's going to go to
I would go with Vrabel.
Yeah. The other thing, Titans, Patriots, and again, the Raiders, I think, will figure it out. Not saying that Belichick was doing great things with the Patriots, but that kind of loosened some things up there in the AFC. Especially with the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert, and I got a bad thing about betting the Chargers. I hope they screw this up. I really hope that the Chargers screw this up. Now, I keep saying that Vrabel is going to go there. I feel like he is. But I, as a Browns fan, want nothing more than the Chargers to F that up. Please, God, do. Because then that's one less team I got to worry about in the AFC. That's how I play all this game out, right? I hope the Patriots don't get back to success. I hope the Titans wallow away. I wish they'd fire somebody else in the AFC. Kind of thin out the herd a little bit here. I hope the Chargers screw it up. I've called my shot. I'll do it again. I think Belichick's going to Atlanta. I think Vrabel's going to the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to go to the Panthers. I think Gerard Mayo's just going to get elevated and take that job there in New England. So that leaves Washington, Seattle, and that's it.
Ooh, all right.
Seattle, Dan Quinn, easy layup because he was the defensive coordinator there.
But I wasn't gonna say him. I'm gonna say I think Harbaugh Chargers. I think Vrabel Atlanta. I think Belichick's done. I don't think.
Trust me.
Yeah.
People are writing this off for Atlanta because also with Washington. And what are you getting with Bill Belichick? You know what I mean? Like, what are you still getting out of him? I think he's a good coach, sure, but like, I guess you keep him away from being a GM. That'd be fine.
The question for me, I think obviously Antonio Pierce is going to stay with the Raiders.
Sure.
I think I could see Ben Johnson, a guy.
He's
like Ben,
getting a job.
I could see
He's
him. I could see him going to Seattle. I could see. The biggest one for me is really the Commanders. I don't know what the Panthers are going to do. They're just going to throw a crap ton of money at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're going to do. But I'd say, yeah, Carolina and Washington, I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, let's do this. Let's catch our break. We come back. We're going to run through the morning update. We got all the stories. And then in hour 2, I've got Bill Barnwell's preview for the Browns and the Texans, including his game pick. And our question is still up. You like it when everybody's picking the Browns to win. We'll update on that. We'll dive back into the Browns matchup against the Texans as well. And I want to remind everybody about our Tipico Boost. You do it again?
Can I do it again?
Can I do it again?
Let's
Get right,
do
do
it.
it. Yeah! There it is. 3-leg boost for us. Cavs are in Paris, 2 o'clock tip. Donovan Mitchell, 25 or more points. Max Strus, 3 or more threes. And under that 226.5. Book it plus 540. Play it on
feeling
out.
really good, man.
I like it. I like it a lot. Get to Tipico. Use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. You deposit and bet $25. You get $100 in bonus bets with that new code, brand new code, Fontana100 when you sign up with our friends at Tipico. So we got all that coming up for you. Catch a break. Morning update comes your way next. Stay with us. Big play. Fontana Show. Did you have trouble filling that out this morning for the morning update, or did you have enough?
Yeah. Only took me
Quite a
about
lot
30
going
seconds.
on. We got Browns playoffs. We got the Cavs in pairs. Bonjour. I didn't take. Did you take French or Spanish?
Spanish.
Spanish. I did too. I remember jack nothing.
I was awful.
I took
at it.
3 years of it, and I was terrible. So when I got to college, I thought it'd be cool if I took sign language. I was like,
I
you gotta
did
take
too.
I don't remember anything about that either. Probably tells you a little bit about my life as a student, by the way.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Please.
I took sign language in college one semester. So do you remember how to do a R? Not at all?
No.
So it's basically you just cross your fingers, right?
Okay.
I can't cross my fingers.
Why? Let me see.
That's as far as I can go.
Really?
It like pain. I literally have to go like this. It pains me. Like my hands are like, I don't know.
What? I mean, like some people can cross them more than another, but you can't even get your finger to go over top of the other
I swear
one.
this isn't me faking.
Have you ever broken your hand or
No.
anything? Huh.
I swear this isn't me fake. Both hands. Both hands.
Really? That's interesting.
Right?
That's interesting.
I'm a freak.
Everybody's got a little something. I have 2 webbed toes on each of my feet.
Do you really?
Yeah. They're called twinsy toes. They're like my 2 middle toes. It was funny because when our kids were born, the first thing I looked at was like, do they have those? Because it's genetic. No, they don't have them. So we're all good. Yeah, everybody's got a little something.
Anyway,
a little something. There you go.
Paris in Paris, the Cavaliers take on the Brooklyn Nets
I
today
can almost
in
guarantee you
Paris.
Karis LeVert can do that. I'm doing this for Karis tonight because I need the Cavs. Come on now.
Paris in Paris. Cavs taking on the Brooklyn Nets today. Feels like they haven't played in an eternity.
Yeah,
right now,
they
6
ain't
games
out there.
above 500. Sitting there in the 6th seed in the East. How you feeling, Matt?
Good. I'm really excited to see this because I think the NBA, they are in a very powerful position. And what I mean by that is, you know, the NFL wants to go international. I don't know if you've got you can do the okay, so we'll get to that in a second. They announced the teams that are going to London, Germany, August. That requires a massive field. That requires taking hundreds of people on a plane over there. Hockey, a little different, right? Baseball, you need this stadium. All that. Basketball is so easy to do. They already have professional basketball over there with the arenas. You can import the court that you need, and it's minimal people that you're taking over there, right? I'm really shocked that the NBA doesn't do that more. Now, you got TV people you got to keep happy, and today's game's on NBA TV. I think it's on it's got to be on Bally's today too, right? Yeah, because they sent John and AC and Serena, so they got to be there. So, but I like, that's the easiest sport to do. It's the easiest sport to take international, and Europe is a real hotbed for basketball, especially with Luka and seeing some of the European guys, Wembanyama. Is he over there at all? How is he not in this game? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how are
you
we
would've
not playing the
thought,
Spurs? But I guess
I don't know. He's
well, the comeback is.
Oh wait, no, yeah, he's French.
He's French, I know, no. But my comeback is going to be that they've seen him for 6 years already. They're
Yeah,
probably
true.
sick of him, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see him. I'm sure the Spurs will get over there sooner rather than later. I know it's probably tough on the Cavs for travel. You technically did give up a home game for this because the Cavs are the home team over there. I think this is really cool, just on them being over in Paris. Now, that being said, the Brooklyn Nets are not very good right now. They're 3-7 in their last 7. They beat the Thunder. That ended a 5-game losing streak for them. And they lost to some pretty bad teams in that stretch. I don't want to say you put them out of your misery. It's only a 3-point spread on Tipico. It's only 3. We should have put that in the boost. I
was
want
thinking
to.
about it, but yeah.
Boost is already up. I kind of like the 3 more than the under. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go rogue here.
Okay.
I'm going to do my own little same game parlay.
Okay.
But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover my ass here a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do. Typico, code Fontana 100 when you sign up. Here's what I'm going to do. Cavs 3.5. And I'll just do Donovan Mitchell over points, and I'll do Max Strus. Over 26.5 for Donovan. And 3-pointers made for Strus. I'll do that same parlay there.
I like that. I can see it.
Oh, they won't let me combine it. They won't let me combine it. Nonetheless, I'll get that parlay cooked up here in a little bit. I love it. I expect the Cavs to get a win 2 o'clock this afternoon. Don't forget, and we'll be watching.
Did you know that French toast isn't from France?
I did not.
Do you know where it's from?
No.
Belgium, actually.
Well, that
Same
makes
with-
sense.
Same with
Waffles.
French fries.
Yeah, waffles and Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, I would actually.
Well, speaking of
I love French
international
toast. I
stuff,
love a good French toast.
yes, the London games and even a Germany game were announced for next year. Noteworthy for the Browns to keep an eye on is why? Because the Browns take the Jags on the road next season, and the Jags, of course, are slated for a London game.
They play London every year. The Browns are kind of due. They haven't been there since, I think, 17 or 19 maybe? When did they go? Yeah, Google that, please. Thank you. So I think they're semi-due. And the thing is, the NFL does want to put good games over there.
What did you say?
I think 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You know who we played? Time Hop.
It wasn't the Jags.
No.
It wasn't the Titans.
I think this team's playing.
Oh, the Vikings.
Yes.
It was the Vikings. I remember, yeah, we played the Vikings. That's right. I remember that. Yep, it was the Minnesota Vikings. Yep. I think you're in play for that because they do want to send good games over there. And the Browns are an up-and-coming hot team, and Jacksonville is basically the pseudo-London team. I could see that being a matchup. I could see the Browns having to go international again next year, which London is. I've never been to England. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Italy. But I think the Browns are in play for that. Then you get the bye. I know it kind of messes with the schedule a little bit. Browns' opponents are set. For those that don't know, as soon as the season ends, you know who you're playing. You just don't know when you are playing them. So this year, we are playing the NFC, or we are playing the AFC West, which is going to be tough. So you have to play the Chargers, you've got to play the Chiefs, you got to play the Broncos and the Raiders. Then I think we have the NFC South. Oh, no, that's not all we have. Here's what we have. So the NFL schedule used to break out easy in a 16-game schedule. And here's how it worked. You played 6 games against your division opponents. You played one other division in the NFC. You played one other division in the AFC. And then you would play 2 teams that finished in the same spot as you in the respective division. Now you've got this added game where you play the other NFC team. Here's the Browns schedule as it plays out. 6 games, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, the Ravens. You have the AFC West this year, so you have the Chargers, you've got the Raiders, you've got the Broncos, and the Chiefs. Then we have the NFC East. We have the Cowboys, we've got the Eagles, we've got the Giants, and we've got the Commies. Our wild card game is against the Saints from the NFC, and then you have the Jags because they finished second in the AFC South, and you have the Miami Dolphins who finished second in the AFC East. That is your schedule for this season for the Cleveland Browns. I'm impressed. Did I miss any?
I don't think so.
I was off memory. That's what it is. That's the Browns schedule for next year. That's how it kind of plays out. So you're in play for that London game. We'll see if it actually happens or not.
Well, Matt, a huge coaching day yesterday. We know all the news that came out. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, guys that have been with their respective teams since I can remember. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy now, and it's going to be a lot of change, especially in college football. I just can't see anybody else in that Crimson Red besides Nick Saban.
Our question is, which job do you think would be easier to replace? And, we kind of got the saying about, you don't want to replace the guy, replace the leader, and all that kind of stuff. Early results, 60% of people say that it'd be easier to replace Belichick than Saban. That's how I thought it'd be wider. I thought the gap would be a little bit wider. Now, the comeback would be it's easier to take over an Alabama team that is an absolute juggernaut and is still a favorite to get almost any recruit. But don't forget, that's going to change. They already had that 9th overall recruit. He flipped. Or not flipped, but he said, I'm not committed anymore because Saban left. Of all the guys of that list, because you and I saw the same list, here are the guys. Dan Lanning, Dabo Sweeney. I'm not putting James Franklin on there. Mike Norvell, Steve Sarkisian.
Lane
Kiffin.
And then I don't know who the other dude was, like Leopold or something?
Oh, Lance Leopold? Yeah.
Who's that?
Up-and-coming guy. I mean, his name's even certain, but he's not a guy that's taken over like a major pro. Like he's at, where's he at? Or Lance Leipold, I think is actually how you pronounce his last name. The thing is, he's older. He's 59, Kansas. I don't really buy that necessarily with him. But it's interesting, too, that Alabama's not something that anybody would leave a job for. I'm feeling Dabo for some reason. I don't know why. Now, he's got the cushiest job of all cushy jobs at Clemson, and they'll never fire
But
him.
the thing is, I don't think Dabo's a good fit at all. Because
I don't like Dabo at all. I think he's a bad coach.
you need a
I
guy
do.
that's going to lean into the NIL with an old guy
Right.
who wouldn't retiring.
Right.
So why bring in another like that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, they should. I'd do everything I could to get Dan Lanning, but you got to pay $20 million to get him out of that contract in Oregon. I don't know about that.
All right, Matt. Well, I know we don't talk about it on the show too much, but I'm going to bring up college basketball for 2 reasons. The first reason being, in just the last 2 days, we saw the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, and 5 seed all get knocked off. My Cincinnati Bearcats got upset, or not upset, but they lost to 25th ranked Texas on a buzzer beater. And now I want to give you the floor to rant a little bit about Ohio State.
I should have known better. And somebody sent me the tweet that you put money on a Chris Holtmann team in January. We had a parlay. We had our boost yesterday. It was the Ohio basketballs. Wright State smoked them. Youngstown State. It got a little hairy, but they closed it out. Ohio State minus 1.5.
Who do Ohio State play?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
And Wisconsin's the 13th ranked team in the country. Ohio State got to a 4-point lead with, I think, like 5 minutes to go. There was a stretch, because honestly, I watched that game. It was the first regular season Ohio State basketball game I think I've watched in 3 years. I knew not a single damn player on that team.
How much did they lose by?
I don't even know. I turned it off. I was so pissed.
Okay.
I think like 6-7, something like that. Here's what it was. Wisconsin, in the second half, Ryan, they went like 7 minutes without making a field goal. 7 minutes where all they got was a couple of free throws. And I was staring at it on Tipico. And I could have cashed out. I would have quadrupled my money. But I wanted to stay in for the boost. I wanted to stay in to see if I'd win it out. Cost me. I should have just cashed it out. So angry, man. I am so angry about that. Yeah, but I mean, college basketball, here's the thing, and why I know it's big news, and they storm the court when, Purdue goes down, and congratulations, Nebraska, and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even some of these teams, like Purdue, is always going to make the college. Like this
They're
team,
so poverty.
They would have to lose 20 games, right? They're making it. There's no way that they're not. So that's where the regular season just never. I hate college basketball to begin with. Conference tournaments are one thing. The NCAA tournament's another. I don't really care. We're not going to fill out brackets on this show. We do our bracket for our cartoon. Sure, I'll do that all day long. I hate college basketball. I guess it's storylines because all these top teams went down. I don't care.
We always joke about like the DJ Ungaleles, the Bo Nixes, how they're there for so long. Zach Edey for Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear that dude's been there for 7 years. It's
well, and
getting
the
crazy.
thing is, he's actually turned himself into a good NBA prospect now, which is crazy because as tall as he is, they were saying that he wasn't going to make it to the NBA.
Yeah, because he wasn't that good.
Because
like,
he
was
wasn't
just a
that
monster.
just
He was
tall,
just
but
huge.
I guess he's improved himself a little bit this year where he's actually in consideration to be a pick now.
All right, well, we'll end the morning update, Matt. It just seems like there's so many celebrity feuds, right, with Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers. You were listening to a little bit this morning. I tweeted about it yesterday. I mean, this Stephen A. Smith stuff with Jason Whitlock, it's getting kind of weird.
Oh, it's getting like
to a level
like
of
venom.
Yeah, like
you know,
like truly, like you can pick out beefs and you can see fallacies in them that they're not that real. This one to me, Matt, seems pretty damn personal.
Sure, and that's the thing when you cross people or when and what people have got to remember. And I don't have any stake in this fight. I'm not a Stephen A. Smith fan. I'm certainly not a Jason Whitlock fan. Relative, I don't mind Stephen A. Smith, but what I'm saying is you got to remember that this is one side of the story. But the thing is, when you hear all of these people say what a bad person Jason Whitlock is, then you start to assume maybe that's the trend. Okay? When you run into people and they ask you about Matt Fontana, okay? There's probably a couple of people, and I'd give you names, that would say that guy's a jackass and I don't like him. That's fair. That's part of life, right? That's part of even doing this job. Not everybody's going to like it. I would hope that the vast majority of people that you run into would say, yeah, he's a good dude, or I like Matt, or I'm friends with him, or whatever like that. So that is your vibe on who I am. And I would hope that you'd figure out I'm a pretty good dude. I'd like to think so. I'm not out to get anybody and all that. But when you hear people over and over and over again say that Jason Whitlock's a bad person, I'm assuming that he's a really bad person.
So did you see what he called Stephen A. out for?
No, that's what please educate me. Where did this all start?
Well, so Jason Whitlock basically. So he said a few things about Stephen A. But
Right.
most notably, so he basically says like Stephen A. is a puppet for the. I know we don't talk about politics, but real quick, for the leftist side, kind of. Giving into
Jason Whitlock is a conservative,
ESPN,
is he not?
Yeah,
Yes.
giving
okay.
into ESPN and Disney. But then more recently, he called out Stephen A. So Stephen A.'s autobiography that he wrote, one of the New York Times bestsellers, he called him out because he's saying Stephen A. lied about his story about his high school basketball tryout, how he made like 17 straight threes, and how he like went up against this 6'2", 230 dude one-on-one. At the time, Stephen A. was like 5'9", $130, and he was just saying he was lying about his autobiography, and he like went as far as like just going through Stephen A's like newspaper clippings of Stephen A's old high school to find these players, and he found all these players except he couldn't find a single one ever about Stephen A.
That's a little psycho.
I know,
like,
right?
That's a little.
I know.
I made you a doll with some of my hair, kind of thing. Like that's okay. I mean, they have a beef, and the thing is, Stephen A. When one of the things that he said in his podcast, what did he say? He goes, "I'm a top dog." Very clearly, he is, right? Like, he is one of the top dogs in doing this job. People watch, people listen. If you're going to come at him, you better have some facts. The thing is, again, I don't know if you should read into this or not, but yeah, the fact that Jason Whitlock has had 1,000 different jobs and he keeps moving on. The whole point I was going to bring up is just remember, this is now very personal for Stephen A. Smith. He's very angry, and I'm not telling him that he shouldn't be, but you're going to get his side of the story. You're going to get Jason Whitlock's side of the story, and you kind of figure it out from there.
It just seems like
I'm all for it. I love this stuff. Like,
and it just
bring
seems
it
like,
on, man.
It seems like there's not even really two sides of the story. It just seems like everybody thinks Whitlock is a douche.
Like, dude.
But Whitlock doesn't care.
But the thing is, oh no, and there are people in this world that don't frankly care. And there's an element of anything. You really shouldn't care about what other people think about you. Just live your life, do the best that you can, treat people the right way. You'll do just fine. The thing about Whitlock is, how can you call this stuff out? It's his autobiography. It'd be like, Ryan, you put your autobiography out and go, I was there that day in high school for you, and that's not what really happened. How the hell do you know?
Yeah, he's
How do you know?
He's cutting out newspaper.
And also, why do you care?
And
why does he care
and he's
so
like
much?
tracking down his high school teammates and stuff. Like, it's crazy,
Dude, I'll give you their numbers. They're in my phone. I'm in the same fantasy team. You want to come after me? I'll give you Joe Shebick and John Barlock and Corey. I'll give you all their names. I'll give you their phone numbers. Call my buddy Mike Ambrose, one of my best friends growing up. Like, you can call all these guys. They'll tell you how bad I was at football. I got guys on the wrestling team. Call my brother. 2 of my brothers were on the wrestling team with me. Call him. Tell him up. What do you want to know?
I mean, yeah, but credit, I guess, to Whitlock because he knows what he's doing, because yesterday was the first day I ever knew he had a podcast.
Yeah, Blaze TV. Well, and don't forget, too, that and it would be easy for even doing what we're doing for me to get on here and reveal a bunch of scandalous things. Oh, I never told you the Coquina story from yesterday.
The what?
The Coquina story from yesterday? I meant to tell you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you off the air. I'm not going to do it on the air, but I'll tell you off. And you will just now be bestowed with the secrecy that I was bestowed with. But I'll tell you that when we get to break. Now Ryan's like, all right, we got to go to break now. I'll tell you in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's a media world. It's all clicks and all that kind of stuff. I find it hilarious. I really do. And you can tell that Stephen A., like, when... Can you pull it up? Can you pull up the video?
Yeah, which one?
Just the Stephen A. video. Just where he... And you got to bleep it before he calls him. I mean, I guess we could play it. All right, pull it up. I want to play it.
All right, let me find it.
Dude, I die. It gets me weak when he just calls him a fat bastard.
I think that's the one I have on my Twitter. Let me find
Pull
it.
your Twitter up. At Ryan Tyler 30. Pull it up. I want to see it. I want to hear it is what I want. That one. Yeah. All right.
All right, let me just set it up real quick.
All right. Dude, it's... I mean, it's... And don't get me wrong, Stephen A. has a lot more to lose in this. Like, when you hear Stephen A. say, I had to call executives at ESPN, I had to call this person, he's like, I called my pastor, I talked to my sister, and he doesn't want to be this way, but dude, this is just venom of all venom. Yeah, but take the sound down, or take the music down, and I want to hear what Stephen A. has to say.
All right, I don't know if this is the fat, but he goes off in this one. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Ever call me about him.
Oh, no, it's
again.
Not. I don't know if it's it.
But
I'm a very forgiving
Yeah, this is
person.
not the right one. This is later when he's talking about Le Batard.
Not with him. I don't care what beef I had. I don't care how many of you out there that hate me, whatever former athletes, all this stuff. Man, please, I'm sorry.
I want to hear him.
Because I certainly don't hate y'all. We might have our differences from time to time, but it ain't never that. This is the exception. I hate this bastard. Not even.
Just a little. Oh my God! Seriously, and it's, I guess with the Kimmel Rogers thing, there's going to be a lot of defamation lawyers getting some fat checks over the next couple of months as this all kind of plays out. But don't forget too, it's all media, man. It's all pub. It's all now. Stephen A. doesn't need it, man. He is just killing it there at ESPN. #1 rated. Yeah. I mean, they got all the viewers. They got it all right there. All right, let's head over to ESPN. Speaking of Bill Barnwell, his preview for the Browns and the Texans. So our question is up. Do you like it when everybody picks the Browns? Because it seems to be on a national stage, and even locally, there's this air of confidence, which is fine, but for the Browns against the Titans. Here's Bill Barnwell's write-up on the Browns and the Texans. It's a fun AFC matchup in the opening round. On one side, we have the upstart Texans, who weren't even supposed to be contending. 9-6 with prized rookie C.J. Stroud, and a 10th win with Case Keenum. Stroud has been one of the league's best quarterbacks at protecting the football, posting an incredible 1% interception rate despite throwing some of the deepest average passes of any quarterback. And then the other side, it's a mirror image team of the Browns. Browns are on their 4th of 5 starting quarterbacks this season, with Joe Flacco, who's on the street for the first half of the season. He has handed out interceptions like Werther's originals. Nice pull there. And it doesn't seem to matter because the Browns have forced 11 turnovers in his 5 games. These two teams faced earlier in December, but that was without C.J. Stroud out with the concussion. Flacco threw 2 interceptions, but he picked apart the Houston defense, going 27 of 42 for 368 and 3 touchdowns, and barely had to run the football after Dustin Hopkins went down with that injury mid-game, and Amari Cooper set a career and franchise-high 265 yards receiving for that game. Cooper, of course, missed the game after that with that heel injury, shoulder injury, all that kind of stuff. Here is his prediction for the game. Yeah, we'll do that, right? Yeah, that's good. Coach Gregg coming up 10:30. We had to move back with Gregg, so he's going to join us coming up in 10 minutes. He predicts 21-17 Houston. I kind of like it, though. Yeah. As I'm sitting here, I'm looking around at all these different all these different analysts that are picking the Browns, and they're looking at it from this standpoint, and they're trying to I'm fine with a little bit of a not on our side. The thing is, can you buy that for the playoffs? Can you buy an underdog mentality for the playoffs? You made the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, the Steelers want to play that, but dude, you still made the playoffs, you know?
And to go back to the whole house money thing, I don't buy it because you look at all these injuries, you're like, how the hell did we get there? But the matter of fact is, it is insanely hard, even if all your players are healthy, to get to the playoffs. You go look at 2020. We thought we'd be back in the playoffs the next year. Everything that's unfolded since then has just shown you how quick it can go wrong, and you got to capitalize every chance you have to be there.
Oh, sure. And that's where, with the Browns, depending on Saturday goes, and we'll certainly have that conversation next week, but you feel like they've overcome so much. Why not keep going? You know what I mean? Like, you've overcome all this. You have got yourself to this point. You might as well see this on out. And seeing it out, I think, would be a playoff win. And then you'd face Baltimore, and we'll have a fun conversation about facing them, and all that'll go into that game. But at that point, you would still feel like, hey, we got to look at this. And the positivity that this season has had, I don't want that just to be erased, no matter what happens on Saturday. Like, I will tell you this, and it kind of goes back to playing with house money or not. I still feel really good about this season. And if we lose, I'm going to be upset, and I'm going to want them to win, and I'm going to ask for more. But I'm still going to look back on it and say, wow, they had to overcome a lot. And it's more about, I think it's set this team up for success for the future. I think it has set them up to be in such a good spot years to come. With the players and the coaches and the culture and everything that they've set here, I'm going to feel good about how this team will operate for the years to come. Still want to win Saturday. I still want to try to go shake things up here a little bit. And crazier things have happened. But no matter what, I feel supremely confident about what the Browns have been able to set and the base level that they've been able to create, knowing that in the NFL, it can be gone like that. you got a bad stretch of games and Deshaun Watson gets hurt again, and we're going to have all these long conversations all off season about what you're going to expect out of Deshaun Watson. You got not pressure, man. You saw what Joe Flacco did in this offense. You better come in firing. You better come in on a good record. And you are now going to be seen as one of the better teams to watch out for. And what has happened when the Browns have had that pass? A lot of letdown.
Yeah.
A lot of letdown. When's the last time? I know we're in the playoffs right now. When's the last time we've had back-to-back playoff years? Yeah, go back to the 80s. Right? 90s? No, Belichick, I think. Every year, we make it. Like the next year in the U.S. is a giant turn down. And a lot of times that's coaching changes and this and that. You're not having to worry about that. You're bringing everybody back. It's not as simple as just rolling the footballs out again. But what I think the Browns are able to do with this game on Saturday is look, I'd almost like the Browns to look at it and say, this is a bonus game. This is a bonus game. You're going to play loose. You're going to play free. But the thing is, they know this just, it almost, I don't want to say vindicates, but it caps off the season. You know what I mean? Like it's undone work at this point. You have done all these things. You've overcome all these issues. Cap it off, man. And then whatever happens with Baltimore, or whatever happened, if you can get to the AFC Championship game, great. But you cap it off that way. That's why I don't think Saturday is a house money game. Saturday's a must win. Saturday's a must win.
Literally.
I need them. Well, literally, I know because you're a winner, go home. What I'm saying is I want to cap this off with just that good feeling. And I'm not going to have that. I want to grab onto the good things the Browns have done. And there would be a time that I would. But a win on Saturday just caps off everything for the Browns this season, and I want them to do that. I need them to do that.
I just can't imagine a scenario where it's like, how could we not get the Browns to the divisional round and have Joe Flacco go play the Ravens in Baltimore?
There's another
story in
with
itself
that.
is one of the best playoff things I've ever seen in my life.
I read, my brother-in-law sent me this video of a conspiracy NFL theorist that the playoffs were all created, right? Where you have Watson, even though he's not playing, going back to Houston. You've got Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City, where you've also got that game on Peacock with Taylor Swift fans. You've got Matt Stafford going back to play the Detroit Lions, and yeah, you set it up that Joe Flacco would have to play in the second round against the Baltimore Ravens.
That's very
NFL scripted, man. If only we can just get our hands on that and
we'd
place
be
a lot of
rich.
bets.
We'd be rich.
It'd be a lot of fun. Gregg Williams going to join us next. Had to push back with Coach. Not a problem because, man, we're going to keep him for half hour. We're going to finish this out. Finish the show out with Gregg Williams. What's it like to be in a coaching interview? His best story from Bill Belichick and how he is going to approach, or how he would approach, facing C.J. Stroud. Coach Gregg is next. right, back here on the Fontana Show here on Big Play. So happy to be joined by a former Browns defensive coordinator, former interim head coach, and former NFL head coach, Gregg Williams, of course. Come get some Monday nights right here on Big Play and Bally's. Coach, I have a litany of things that we have to get to. Really appreciate the time. Happy New Year, because we haven't had you on the new year. And, of course, come get some on Monday nights. We got it all right here on Big Play.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Matt. It's been really crazy here New Year. But I have enjoyed every aspect of it, and I appreciate you inviting me on.
We love it. Coach, we got to start with this game on Saturday for the Browns. The Texans, and we look at C.J. Stroud, and we know how impressive he is, but he's still a rookie. And there are some stats out there about his pressure, how he doesn't handle that well. Coach, it's a loaded question, but no better person to ask. How would you go about defending C.J. Stroud on Saturday?
Well, I like the fact that you brought up the word pressure. And I know Jim Schwartz is on top of all that, too, because of our closeness that Jim and I have, is that's one of the biggest things that you have to do. And can you do that?
Nope. Did we lose Coach?
You love his connection.
Oh, he's come back. He's coming right back. He's coming
Make
right
it?
There he
Did
is.
I make it?
Yeah, you're back, Coach. Sorry, you're back. Yeah, that was, I think it might have been on our end there. Sorry about that.
No, but I think Jim will do a really good job of making sure you disrupt the timing of the quarterback, moving him off the spot, doing those type of things. And I do believe that the pressure part of it will be a big factor this coming game.
Coach, when you think about the first playoff game for even DeMeco Ryans and for C.J. Stroud, is that sometimes overblown, or is that a real thing? Like, you know, the Browns had this players meeting this week where they had guys that won Super Bowl step up and talk to the team about what it's like. What is that difference between regular season and the postseason?
Well, there is a little bit more anxiousness. There is a little bit more preparation, nervousness, that type of stuff that goes on during that week. But once you get inside the white lines, once you make contact, once you start playing, it gets back to this normal activity. And once the game starts, it goes back to a normal type of a game, and the guys just play a little bit faster, a little bit more effort and that type of stuff, because they're excited to be there and they want to make sure that they capitalize on every play.
Big-bodied receiver, Coach. That's Nico Collins. We saw him a couple of weeks ago. He put up a lot of stats. You know, Browns still won that game. How do you defend a big-bodied guy like Nico Collins? You know, the Browns have MJ Emerson, but is there anything that you would look at trying to shut down Nico Collins?
Well, the big thing is that you have the principles and the ability, you know, defensively to do doubles and also to disrupt by jams, but then still having help over the top where you roll coverage that way. That will be a very interesting way, because I'm glad you brought that up, is that will they roll some coverage principles? Will they do the disruptive type jamming principles on him? But I do think that will be a particular part of the game plan that we'll see that has to be affected.
Gregg Williams joining us. Of course, come get some Monday nights right here on Big Play and, of course, on Bally's. Myles Garrett winning Defensive Player of the Year, Coach, has been some. I want him to win that award because I think he deserves it. I think he's the best player on the best defense in football. What do you think about his candidacy? You've been around a lot of great players in your time. The voting can kind of be weird. And do you think that's also a reflection of the Browns defense in whole, the whole team, to sit there and say that we kind of won the Defensive Player of the Year award? Your take on him potentially winning it?
Did we break up? Yes. Anyway,
yeah.
We're back. Is that, yes, I do think that that's a big part of the things for the entire team. I would love to see Myles win that. He is my Defensive Player of the Year, the person that I would have chosen. And that is, you know, reflective about how well he's played, but also as a defensive team, they played very well. And that would be a great honor for the Cleveland Browns.
Coach, when you think about this game for the Browns, they've been on this hot streak. The other thing I wanted to ask you is about sitting down a lot of the guys last week. Do you worry about that as a coach? I know it's the right move because you don't want guys to get hurt and they can rest up and heal up some of those injuries. But is there anything special that you would do in a week after like a pseudo bye like this?
I don't worry about it. And the reason I don't is because how you go about practicing and how you go about continuing the routines of the meetings. But you got to make sure that the pace and the effectiveness and all the details at practice is normal. having, all the scout team period. And the tempo of practice is very strong. So that was be an important part. And then I heard that Kevin did a really good job with that.
Coach, Bill Belichick moving on from New England. Nick Saban, obviously out. It's been a crazy 24 hours. I know you got to have a Belichick story for me. Either coaching against him, seeing him, or you got to have a good Belichick story for me.
He's a very close friend of mine. And when that news broke this morning, I just put my head down, and Nick's a very good friend too. But Nick and Bill and I used to, early on in our careers, we used to meet up at the combine all the time, and we'd tell stories back and forth. And also we would talk, all three of us, about different aspects that we were seeing going on in the league and some of the changes and the effects that had to happen. We've always been a resource behind the scenes with each other, and have always, all three of us have studied films and studied different things we're doing. And there was, several places I've been where Nick, was at LSU or he was at Alabama. He would bring his whole staff, and they would sit in my meetings wherever I was at and go through all the film stuff. And I'd have to dedicate certain time of the day where I'd go down and meet and clinic with them for an hour or 2 hours, sitting in my meeting rooms or sitting in the film rooms when I'd be up in my office working on stuff in the off season. But they're obviously, two of the greatest coaches in our game, no matter what level. And I feel for them, and I think it's great. And I do think that Bill's going to continue coaching someplace, and we'll have to wait and see.
I feel the same, Coach. How could you turn away the best of all time to do it? I know he's a little bit older, but still, I think he's got a lot left in the tank there with Bill Belichick. Coach, I also wanted to ask, because you've been through, as a head coach, you've been through the NFL for a long time. Can you kind of just talk to me a little bit? What's that interview process like? Where you're on a team. We hear all these reports of teams have requested interviews, but then sometimes you still have a playoff game you got to get ready for. I know it's a loaded question. I'm sure there's a lot to it, but I just really wanted a little insight on what it's like to go through the coaching circuit, so to speak, from the coach's side of things.
Well, the big part about the preparation for the interview, one of the things that I've done, and Bill and Nick and I talked about this a long time ago, is that there were times during the year, and then I always set a couple of weeks during the summer, during the break that a coach and our families would have off, but sometime in late June and July, and I'd always set time in building notebooks and building interview plans and building things that I was going to be able to cover, with the opportunity with a head coaching interview and all that kind of stuff. And I have a very detailed head coach date and have been building on it for now 40 years. And one of the jokes that I have with any staff that I go to, and especially as a head coach and as a coordinator, what I do is I tell the coaches that are working with me, not for me, that you put up with me for a year. At the end of the year, I'm going to give you this book, and you're going to have your plan. You're going to have what is necessary to go through that process. Now, those interviews are also a way, and it brings a smile to my face that you asked that question. And always remember this quote: there's an art to collecting information and giving out none. And when I see the number of people, several of the organizations are going about and having a big number of people, that's what they're doing. And those organizations, and it tells you a little bit of an evaluation about them, if you have any know-it-all at all about the league and have been in it, that they really don't know what they want. And they're going in to figure out how to be more and better at what they do to lead the organizations, and also to collect information to see how others outside their organization sees them, especially if they ask you to evaluate personnel, to evaluate, positions, and evaluate what we as competitors against them prepare and see against them, getting against them. And so what I've done is I basically let them know this is how we're going to go about doing it in these interviews, but I'm not going to give them a lot of information about them themselves until you hire me. And then once you hire me, then we'll have these sit down meetings on how we're going to get ready to improve where we're at, to be able to win championships. So it's a process. And part of that process right now for me is watching and collecting information on different people about who they're interviewing and how many people they are.
You've hired people too, Coach. Is there something you always look at? Is there something that somebody's got that you really think this person can be successful? Really not even just in NFL coaching, but I guess in life in general. Is there something that you always kind of gravitated towards as the interviewer sometimes?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. One of the things that I started doing from I think it's 1992 on. It's 92 or 93. But I keep a very detailed report on all coaches in the National Football League. And in fact, one of the things that I would do about is I would go to different clubs and organizations. I would meet with the scouts that were out there, scouting college football too. And one of the college draft scouting process meetings that I would have with every single scout out there is not only would they do a scouting report on everybody and every player in their area, in their region, I would have them bring the top 3 at each position that a college program had on position coaches, coordinators, head coaches at that level, and they would have to give me a report on them too. And I would collect that information and keep in tracking service about young coaches or coaches at that level. And then at the pro football level, I would do the same thing too at the NFL level, along with our NFL coaches. In our scouting program, our pro scouts, they would be able to keep and do running scouting reports on different position areas and the top 3 that they would think about. So yes, it's important to keep a detailed scouting report on the coaches. And then the things that you have to do a really good job on is making sure that field, who are they outside the office, all the different things like that, so things don't surprise you. But yes, there is a process. Yes, I do have a very detailed way I go about doing things, and very seldom am I shocked about certain things about certain coaches.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Come get some Monday nights on Big Play, and of course on Bally's throughout the week. Coach, I hope we're talking about a victory on Monday on the show, all right?
I do too, and Victory Mondays are always accessibly very, very happy, and especially for the Cleveland Browns fans. Let's go, dog. Let's go get some.
Let's come get some. There he is, Gregg Williams joining us. Appreciate your time, Coach. There he goes. Come get some. One of our hot and heavy shows here on Monday nights with Blake and Gregg. That just gets interesting to hear Coach talk about that, of what goes into this. And a lot of times you do hear about the interviews when you sit down. They already know everything about you. They already know who you are. They've already talked to this person, all that kind of stuff. I apologize for a little bit of that. Technical problems there. It might even been our end, but who knows? But nonetheless, great stuff there with Coach, which is incredible. Want to talk C.J. Stroud? What did he say? Pressure. You get in that face. You get after him. The number 2 ranked pressure team, talking about the Cleveland Browns. I want to make things really hard on him, right? I want to make things really hard on C.J. Stroud coming up on Saturday. Yeah. And Coach said there, we're going to run the same stuff that we've been doing. We're going to do that man coverage stuff there. We're going to have Denzel. We're going to have MJ Emerson. And I continue to look at Nico Collins. I do. I continue to look to say if we can shut down Nico Collins, if we're able to limit what he can do, even as that big-bodied guy, I think that also starts to paralyze C.J. Stroud a little bit. I think that makes things really hard for C.J. Stroud on top of Myles Garrett and Jazarius Smith and Obo Okoronkwo and all those other guys getting after Stroud. I need to put him on his butt a few times. I'm not talking dirty. I'm not talking about late. But I'd like to get a couple of hits there on C.J. Stroud early, kind of get him a little maybe rattled there. The thing is, he's at home, so he can kind of get back into that flow a little bit. You put him out there to start that game. Don't let him sink in on the sideline a little bit. You win the toss on Saturday, you defer. You put him, I always like to defer anyway. You give him the football. on Saturday. You put him out there so he doesn't have time to sit on the sidelines and maybe collect his thoughts a little bit. He's right in the fire. You throw him right into that fire come Saturday. You defer if you win. I hope so.
Matt, I feel like I know the answer to this question I'm about to ask you, but give me one player or two that you were really looking to step up in this game. For me, I'll go first. It's Darius Smith.
Yeah.
Right? Miles is going to draw the double
Right.
teams. You have to get pressure to C.J. Stroud.
Yes.
For him being a rookie, he doesn't turn the ball over. He gets that ball out faster than some of the best quarterbacks in the league at this moment, which is insanely impressive. I need Darius Smith on that opposite edge to put some pressure on C.J. Stroud, get him uncomfortable early in his first playoff game as a rookie, and that's going to be your formula for success.
I'll give you another one. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And the reason I bring him up is this. He is blitzing a lot more. He is rushing the passer a little bit more. And in this game where they have Dalton Schultz at tight end and Singletary can get out there a little bit and catch the football, I'd actually like to see JOK blitz a little bit more. I'd like to see some pressure from different spots other than just the two edge rushers. I thought about Dalvin Tomlinson, too, and Shelby Harris kind of pushing the middle of the pocket. We'll do our Friday report card tomorrow. And you take a look at that Texans offensive line, man, and they're not real good. They really aren't. Like, Laramie Tunsil's obviously their best player, and he's still one of the better tackles in the league. He's heavily penalized. In fact, the two tackles, you want a stat for Saturday, the two tackles for the Houston Texans, they are combined the two most penalized tackles in football. They are the two most penalized duo tackles in the NFL. Should be able to get that edge rush, but I'd like some up the middle with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I do come back to MJ Emerson a little bit.
That was it.
I mean, dude.
I knew it.
Here's Nico Collins at 6 foot whatever he is. Here's MJ Emerson at 6 foot whatever he is. Scrap it on out. Coach, what did Coach Gregg say too? Jam. You get that pressure on the line. Now, the fear is if you jam somebody and they get past you, you're already a step behind. You roll the coverage, as he mentioned. I'm doing everything in my power for this game. Stop Nico Collins. That's it. Now, you let him go off in that game a couple of weeks ago and you won. Sure, fine. You let anybody else beat you. Because I think if you shut down Nico Collins, you're going to shut down C.J. Stroud. And you're going to win that football game.
How do you expect them to rotate against Nico Collins? Because MJ Emerson, if he gets penalty trouble early, you might have to rotate because, MJ Emerson, the second most penalized defensive back behind L'Jarius Sneed.
Well, the thing is with Denzel, do you worry about the height differential there? They're going to throw the but then the speed, it's tough. I think you're prepared to say, dude, this is all you on MJ and say this is, and you still have Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward, which you forget about. Greg, it's kind of the interesting part where you have like MJ, this big body, Newsome's a little bit bigger than, like, you got all three of a different kind of body type, and you can screw with them, mix it up a little bit. The thing is the safeties. You'll roll Ronnie Hickman over there. Is Juan Thornhill going to play in this game? Please. He's Lonnie Chisenhall. Lonnie Chisenhall's career ended because of calf injuries. I feel like Juan Thornhill has not been on the field in a month because of his calf injury. I need him bad for this game. I need him bad. I do. Great stuff there with Coach Gregg. You missed it, go back, check it out on our video stream, but also come get some on Monday nights. Would you like to do an abbreviated time hop? I have it up.
Yeah, if you want to.
All right, don't even hit the intro. Let's just do it. This day, 2020, the Browns asked for permission to interview Andrew Berry for the general manager job. That would probably
say that
be
turned out pretty well.
Yes, it is. Rob Chudzinski was introduced to the Browns this day, 2013. This day, 2010, Mark McGuire finally admitted to steroid use. So there you go. You mentioned it, the one we don't want to bring up. This day, 1987, The Drive. John Elway and crew, get it done. This day, 1973, the MLB approved the designated hitter. It was originally only supposed to be a 3-year experiment, but became permanent in the AL, and now it's permanent in baseball. I like it. Nobody wants to watch.
Who's the best hitter / pitcher? That was a pitcher. But you can't include like Ohtani.
No. Probably Madison Bumgarner.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of.
CC Sabathia hit a little bit. Josh Tomlin could smack a little bit there for the Indians back in the day, but probably Madison Bumgarner.
Remember when Bartolo pimped one to left field?
Yeah, I love it. This day, 1878. Milk is first delivered in a glass bottle. Started in what city, Ryan?
Milk? Wisconsin?
Delivered in, no. Good guess, though.
Yeah, that would
Milk
make
was
sense.
delivered in a glass bottle for the first time in what city?
Chicago.
New York.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Close, yeah. Very happy birthday to golfer Bren Crenshaw, DeMario Davis, Malik Jackson, former Brown, Danny Salazar, Blake Hance, and Mary J. Blige, all celebrating birthdays. One television show started this day, 1983, way before your time, but you know it, for Happy Little Tree.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross.
Good. I
Started
never
this-
watched it, but
It's a
I've
good
heard
message.
good things about Mr. Ross.
There's never a mistake. Or there's just happy accidents.
Happy accidents.
We'll just put a little tree in here. There's some stat out there. I think he did like 20,000. Hang on. Hang on. We're gonna go down the wormhole on this. Bob Ross stats.
Bob Ross stats, like he's a player.
Yeah, I do. Honestly, I Googled it. It was some player from 1956. I wanted to look like how many things did he pay? Okay, here's what it was. I saw this article, right? This is probably 18% of his paintings featured a cabin, 35% on a lake, 40% there was snow, and 72% of his cabins was painted as conifers, where only 63% are near trees. How many times? Okay, here you go. Here's literally all the statistics from Bob Ross. So let me go to the top here. This is from 538, by the way. Good breakdown here as well. So over 403 episodes on The Joy of Painting. He painted in 381. The rest featured a guest, which he didn't paint in. And they coded this to figure it out. 91% of his paintings had a tree. 85% had two. 56% had dadacious tree. I don't know. 44% had clouds. 39% of his painting had mountains. 34% had grass. 34% had a lake. 33% had a stream or a river. The one thing that he painted the least was bridges, cliffs, and flowers were all the things that he didn't paint the most. And beaches. He only painted a beach 7% of the time that he would do it.
Not a beach guy.
So there it is. Your analysis of the world of Bob Ross. All right, Typico boost, 2 o'clock for the Cavs today. Do not forget. Hit it one more time for me, Ryan. There it is. 3-leg parlay. Donovan Mitchell to score. Couple of threes from Max Strus and hit the under. Boosted to a giant plus 540 there with our friends at Typico. Get signed up today, folks, and if you need a code, use the code Fontana100. That is the code. So new customers, when you sign up with Typico, you deposit and bet $25 and use the code Fontana100. You get $100 in bonus bets that you can use on anything that you'd like. Same game parlays are always up, and our booster are there. So check it out. Go get them, Cavs. I'm excited for the game this afternoon. Here we are. How you feeling?
I feel really good, Matt. We got a Final Four.
That's right, our bracket of the week. Let's get to it. Best 90s cartoon. You're very happy about Recess. I'm happy about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I got some more flack this time from Cody because apparently TNT was...
It came out in 87. It ran into the 90s.
That's what I'm
okay?
saying. Let's relax, guys.
Let's go. We want the
can
best of the
span
best.
multiple decades.
We want the best
anyway,
of the
our
best.
Final Four... SpongeBob, Batman the Animated Series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Recess. Matt,
I love it.
I don't even have to ask
No,
what
you know
your
where I'm
vote
going.
is.
You know where I'm going.
My vote has to be SpongeBob.
That's fine.
I've been a SpongeBob lover since I can remember. That
There
came
you
out
go.
really weird, but you know what I meant.
That's all good, man. That is what it is. So vote at Matt Fontana Show on your favorite 90s cartoon. Again, we stretched that out a little bit. Great stuff today with Gregg Williams. You missed that, go back, folks. We are jammed for a Friday. We'll have Sonny Gupton from Typico doing all the playoff matchups. We'll have the Friday report card. We'll take a look at the Browns and the Texans. It's a big weekend. Starting to feel it. Cavs this afternoon. Don't forget our boost on Typico. Code Fontana100 when you sign up. Get it done. Let's go get it, Cavs. It's going to do it for us here on the show. Back for a Friday edition. For Ryan Tyler. Don't forget, Chico coming up 12 to 2 today. I think that's our only show for the rest of the day, right? All right, we're good to go on that. Chico 12 to 2. Don't miss it with him. And we'll be back 9 to 11 tomorrow right here on Big Play. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. And as always, take it easy.